Welcome! I'm excited today to talk about this awesome 2008 G37 Coupe with a 6-speed manual transmission. The G37 6MT used to be a part of my daily life working at an Infiniti dealership, but the last model year Infiniti offered a manual transmission was in 2015 on the Q60 Coupe, which is basically the same thing as a G37 Coupe until it got redesigned into the 2017 model year. So if you're a fan of manual transmissions, this G37 Coupe is a very rare find. And when you opt for the manual transmission in the G37, as you should, you automatically get all the sports car hardware available because Infiniti is pretty wise. They think, okay, if someone's looking for a 6-speed manual gearbox, they're definitely a performance-oriented driver. So you're going to get the upgraded aluminum pedals, you're going to get a sport-tuned suspension, you're going to get an upgraded wheel and tire package, you're going to get upgraded brakes, you're going to get a viscous limited slip differential, performance hardware that we don't even have on brand new Infiniti Red Sport Q60s. They use a kind of a electronic limited slip differential, which is quite not the same as having a mechanical one. So you get all the sporty hardware. This G37 Coupe has a lot of sentimental value to us, and I'll show you why. Here's the Carfax. You can see it's a one-owner clean Carfax vehicle, originally from Washington, but if we look a little bit further, vehicle sold 4/18/2008 with 67 miles, Infiniti of Tacoma at 5. So it's a one-owner clean Carfax vehicle, and it was originally purchased from us. So when we had the opportunity to buy this one back from our customers, we were definitely enthusiastic about getting this vehicle back to us because it has a lot of sentimental value. And we did put a lot of work into it. We actually spent $8,000 in the shop to get this one frontline ready. Normally on an older coupe like this, we'd probably send it to the auction, but like I said, this has sentimental value to us. It's a one-owner clean Carfax, originally purchased from us, very rare 6-speed manual. We felt that we had to recondition this vehicle and make it available sale for a retail vehicle, and I'm glad we did. It's now been through the shop, so some of the stuff we did to go up to $8,000 is the big item was the front gasket, engine gasket was leaking. It's a big project. You should have seen, how much we had to disassemble the engine to get that replaced. That was $3,000 at our cost to replace that front engine gasket. So no more oil leaks. We also put 4 brand new tires on it, oil change, engine filter, new cabin filter, 4 new tires, slave master cylinder for the clutch, and it got a brand new battery. It was actually sitting in storage for a little while. The previous owners, they both lived in the US and Canada, but in the later years they seemed to be spending most of their time in Canada. So unfortunately this thing was languishing in a storage unit in Seattle. So we got it. We couldn't shut it off because the battery was so depleted, and it was a little bit dirty from sitting in a storage unit. But now we have brought her back, and now she's a beautiful example of a 6-speed manual coupe for its next happy owner. I wish I could have this car. This car is one of my favorite all-time vehicles. It's a great combination of reliability, performance, and design. Largely based on the 370Z platform. For a long time, the underpinnings of the majority of the Infiniti product line was based on the Z platform, the G35, G37, FX series, M series. All these vehicles are based on the advanced from platform from the Nissan Z. In fact, you could almost call the G37 Coupe a Grand Touring version of the Z with back seats. So you get 90% of the performance of a 370Z, but you get a much more comfortable interior, a lot more luxury car comfort. And for 2008 model year, this thing is fairly loaded with equipment. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is as loaded as you can get for 2008. We have the upgraded sport bolstered seats with a beautiful perforated leather interior. We have power and heated front seats. We have an upgraded Bose sound system. It actually has a 9.3 gigabyte hard drive, believe it or not, so you can store music on there, and you can also put a flash drive in there to play your music. We also have a RCA connection, so you can probably go to Car Toys and upgrade it so you can plug like your phone into it or stream music. Unfortunately in 2008 they didn't have Bluetooth audio streaming. That didn't come till 2010 on Infiniti products. We have that traditional Infiniti in-lock clock. This one also has a navigation package. We have a rear parking camera. We have a moonroof. We have a universal garage door opener, integrated compass, automatic dimming mirror. We have a power adjustable steering wheel that tilts and telescopes. And look at this. This is a rare feature that's gone away from Infiniti and some Nissan products. Look at the whole gauge cluster moves up and down with the steering wheel. And the reason why they do that is that the steering wheel will never obstruct the gauge cluster. So that's a really cool design. I think it was just too much money to manufacture to continue putting it in vehicles. This kind of sucks that that went away. I thought it was a great feature. We have adaptive cruise control. This has a tech package, memory seats. We have an advanced front lighting system, so the headlights will actually turn into the corners for better nighttime visibility. This is a beautiful color combination on white on this stone leather interior. And being a one-owner clean Carfax from the Pacific Northwest, it's had a very gentle life. It's a very mild climate here, unlike some of the Rust Belt states. I'm from Boston. Those climates can be much more harsher on vehicles like this. That's why usually when you go to the Northeast, you don't see too many older vehicles. We're out here in Washington, we see all sorts of old vehicles just because the climate's so mild out here. Cars just tend to age more gracefully and have a longer life cycle. So if you live in a different part of the country, if you want to find a nice older car, definitely check out the Pacific Northwest. We have these back seats, decent amount of legroom back there for a small coupe. Really nice shade of white. The paint's in excellent shape. There's an upgraded 19-inch wheels, upgraded brakes. Also of the sport package, you have a more aggressive looking front fascia. And one of the greatest aspects of this car is the engine. The VQ37 engine, which evolved from a VQ35 engine, has almost legendary status among performance car enthusiasts. This car is built and assembled in Japan, so if you do value Japanese build quality, this thing is a real deal. I think some of the best car production facilities are in Japan to this day. I've seen a lot of examples, not of just 150,000. I've seen G37s coming on trading for service with 200,000 miles still running strong. These are rock solid motors, and you know, the oil leak was probably the biggest issue going on with this one, which we spent $3,000 to remedy. So you have a car, this has a little over 100,000 miles, but there's no reason with a carrying owner that this one can't go another 100,000 miles. And look how clean and beautiful this engine compartment is. If you didn't look at the odometer, you could easily imagine this thing only having 40 or 50,000 miles. It looks and drives that nice. In fact, when I'm done with this walk around, I'll get behind the wheel and take it for a little spin around the block. If you are interested in this G37, we have complimentary delivery to Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. We can put this in our car hauler, we can tow it to you. So for a mobile delivery service, this beautiful G37 can be yours without leaving your neighborhood or your driveway. But a vehicle like this might appeal to someone further than Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Unfortunately, we can't do complimentary shipping, but we work with lots of transportation and logistics companies. We sell vehicles out of state all the time, all over the country. We've shipped to Alaska. We've shipped all the way to the East Coast. We can do it with this because we know these things are few and far between, and a beautiful one-owner clean Carfax example from a mild climate might be appealing to certain, you know, car enthusiasts looking for a vehicle like this. This car has a lot of performance history. There's a lot of people that love these cars. So if you're looking for a vehicle that could be a desirable classic in the future, if you want to hold on to this thing for another, you know, 10, 15, 20 years, this really could be a desirable sports car in the future. All right, that being said, let's get behind the wheel and take it for a little spin around the block and see how it drives. All right, here we go. We're finally taking this 08 G37 6-speed coupe out for a spin. The 3.7 liter V6 in this one makes a little over 330 horsepower. So still very quick by today's standards. In fact, you know, the non-red sport version of the Q60, the vehicle that replaces this, makes 300 horsepower. So this still has another 30 or so horsepower over the regular version of the Q60. Then of course we have the red sport 400, which obviously is very fast, but I'm a manual transmission enthusiast, so I'd probably give up having 400 horsepower and for a little over 300 just for the joy of driving a manual gearbox. The manual gearbox, a 6-speed manual gearbox, and this thing's an absolute joy to use. Nice, precise throws, very rewarding to use. And even with 100,000 miles of clutch engagement, the transmission is working fantastic. Engine's very reliable, maintenance-free timing chain, so you never need to worry about the cost of replacement of timing belts. Timing belts can be very expensive to replace when you have a vehicle that has them. And that's part of the magic of the amazing VQ37 engine. Very driver-centric cockpit, clean interior, not overly cluttered with buttons. Love the aluminum trim. It's actually, I think it's inspired by Japanese rice paper, kind of the look of it and feel. It's like a brushed aluminum. The 3.7 liter V6 has a nice tone to it, really nice sounding engine, kind of a little of a baritone sound to the exhaust and the engine. I actually have the same engine in my Infiniti FX37. For a while, the 3.7 liter engine, the VQ series engine, was a big backbone of the Infiniti product line. At one point, 80–90% of the vehicles we were selling had a variation of this amazing engine. Eventually, you know, like a lot of people, they had to switch to, you know, turbos, forced induction, just for efficiency and power, better gas mileage. But there definitely is a cult-like following for these 3.7 liter V6s. People seek them out. They know how reliable they are. Yeah, really nice to roll through the gears. And then it's a great highway car too. So in 6th gear, we're right at 60 miles an hour. It's hovering a little over 2,000 RPM. This is a close ratio transmission, so it's not geared for fuel economy. So unlike some vehicles, like economy vehicles with manual transmissions, which probably we don't see too much these days, that might have really tall gearing, the gearing is very close just for performance driving. So maybe you might sacrifice a little bit of fuel efficiency over the 7-speed automatic transmission in the newer G37s. Or for a while it was a 5-speed automatic transmission, but this 6-speed is awesome gearbox with its close ratios. Pretty much the same gearbox that you get in the 370Z. At a dead stop, this car is very quiet, engine's purring like a kitten. A very beautiful example of an 08 G37 indeed. Some manual gearboxes can be a little bit more work to use. But this gearbox, it's very, very easy to use, easy to roll through the gears, doesn't take much effort. Even if I had to drive in stop and go traffic, it wouldn't be too much of a pain. I might be willing to sacrifice the inconvenience of a manual and stop and go just for the joy of driving a manual gearbox in situations like this. Wonderful steering. People have actually equated the steering on the older versions of the G37s as almost Porsche-like. And in fact, this was, you know, given her, you know, some of the best performance cars at the time, a run for its money. I remember actually reading I think it was a Motor Trend article when the G37 came out in 2008, and they put it head to head with the BMW 3 Series Coupe, which was pretty much the benchmark, you know, performance luxury coupe at the time, and it beat it. Definitely check out that article if you're interested in buying one of these. Definitely some good reading there. And even though it has a stiff suspension going over like railroad trucks like that, bumps, it's not jarring my kidneys. It's still a luxury, comfortable ride, but you have a stiff suspension for, you know, very fun handling and cornering. In fact, we have a favorite little curvy road coming up where we're gonna take this on. And roll-on acceleration is pretty good, so even, you know, hovering at 1500 RPM at 40 miles an hour, I'm flooring it in 6th gear. It's gaining speed very nicely. Some other vehicles, you might have the engine bog, you might have a lot of vibrations, but this thing's perfectly smooth, and that's part of the magic of having this close ratio 6-speed manual gearbox. I'm gonna open the windows a little bit, since we're not going terribly fast on this road. Maybe we can hear a little bit more of that VQ37 music as I roll through the gears, going up this nice little hill. Pull over just to give myself, I'm not gonna do anything illegal, but give ourselves a little bit of room for these cars to get ahead of us. Beautiful day to drive a lovely G37 coupe like this. All right. great stability control system, VDC, that help keeps this thing planted. You can see it kicking a little bit there. Handling the corner very, very nicely. The VDC is kicking in again. So basically in situations like that, I was giving it full throttle mid-corner. So if I didn't have that on, the VDC on, I'd probably be spinning out of control, crashing. But the VDC helps keep the vehicle, you know, from spinning out of control, but still allows you to have performance driving without completely shutting the power off. And I'm not, you know, I'm not going terribly fast. Maybe a teeny bit faster over the speed limit, but you can see I've caught up to those vehicles I gave some space to. Wow, this thing is, I forgot how much fun these things are on the corners. It's a wonderful road to explore the potential of a well-handling vehicle like this. Because the thing with that road, not only is it really curvy, but it's kind of bumpy too. So it really kind of tells the truth about how well a chassis is set up in a vehicle. How does the vehicle handle not only performance driving in the corners, but on bumpy road that might upset the suspension a little bit. But this thing was completely planted. You know, definitely got my heart rate up a little bit, as it should doing some performance driving like that, but I did not feel like it was scary. I didn't feel like the vehicle's on the verge of losing control. And yeah, and that's the magic of having a car like this. Not only is it fast in a straight line, which can be fun, straight line acceleration is fun, but there's also something very, very rewarding about driving a vehicle through the corners. Kind of like that dance of changing gears, perfect clutch engagement, flipping the throttle for downshifts, mixed in with you know, flowing through those corners. That's the magic of performance driving. You know, that's when driving becomes less of a chore and more of a passion, more of a hobby. And yeah, if you want a nice vehicle to get out, have a little U-time. Oh, there's a Q60. Have a little U-time. This would be a great vehicle to do it in. Well, that pretty much ends our drive. A lot of fun, and it's over way too soon. I wish I could sneak out of the work for the rest of the day, maybe take this thing around Mount Rainier National Park, or take it along the Washington and Oregon coast. I could have a lot of fun in this car. I've owned some manual transmission Infinitis in the past, and sometimes I kick myself for not keeping them. But if you happen to be the next owner of this one, I think you should keep it forever. It's an irreplaceable, amazing vehicle that Infiniti will probably never build or offer a vehicle like this again. You know, we're seeing the world switch to EVs, and manual transmissions are, you know, often becoming the way of the past. And a big part of that is, you know, automatic transmissions have become so efficient and so good that now they actually offer better performance and better fuel efficiency than a comparable manual transmission. In the olden days, it was actually less expensive to get the manual versus the automatic. You got better fuel economy and you got better performance, and it was fun. But the thing is, when it comes to pure driving enjoyment, who cares if you get 0.2 of a second or half a second faster to 0 to 60? I would sacrifice that for the joy of a nice mechanical 6-speed manual transmission. It's a dying art of driving, a lost art. You know, I don't know. Probably I'd give us maybe another 5 or 10 years, and we'll probably see most manual transmissions gone. There are a few vehicles where they still remain popular in, you know, like the Mazda Miata and the Mustang. But even on the higher performance versions of the Mustang, like the GT500, you can't even get that with a manual. So there you go. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this drive in this 2008 G37. It was absolutely wonderful to take it up that hill. And now we have those memories forever in this video. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully we see you soon.